Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, and our beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yoganandaji, saints of all religions, we humbly bow at thy feet. Thank you for this day, for the opportunity to honor you, to be guided by you. Help us to join you in your joy, in your love, in your wisdom, and your peace. Om Shanti. Amen. So I know that the topic this morning is the mystery of the avatar. And Supriya and I were saying it's the mystery of computers, it's the mystery of gurus, it's the mystery of our lives. How did we get here? I wanted to, actually I had two beginnings, so I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this, but I think I'll start with the avatar and then go into Anandi's life and her passing. As most of you know, she passed this morning at 1 o'clock, and they're going to have a, I don't know if it's open. They're going to have her body outside her house this afternoon from 11:30 to 1:30, so people can go over, and it's going to be a flower ceremony kind of a thing. So we'll be going over there, and they have set up this beautiful shrine for her about 2 weeks ago, I guess. And so the altar was such that when you sat on the benches by her house, it looked into her window where she was, but obviously there were curtains, but you really got a connection with her. And many people have been going over there and meditating and centering her love and feeling her blessings. At the end, I want to read you something. I don't know if you have read what Giovanni wrote. Did you get that, Supriya? No. Okay, I'm going to read it to you because it's quite beautiful, and it's just an experience she had with Anandi. I'm also going to read you another email that just sort of puts those of you who don't know her very well or at all, it'll put a little bit in the context of what she did and how she touched people. But to start with the topic, the one thing that kept coming to me was Swami's writing the New Dispensation. And so I was reading that yesterday, and the New Dispensation is a little tiny booklet that Swami Kriyananda wrote about who he is and the magnitude of who he is and what he can do, what he can do for us if we tune into him. And it keeps coming back to those who receive him will get that power and that energy, but it's always in proportion to how much energy you put out, how much energy you want to draw from him. How do you meditate? How do you meditate? Let's say that. How do you meditate? How do you feel when you meditate? What's the energy you put into feeling that connection with the guru? Which to me is a lot of meditation, is making that connection. And why would I want to make that connection? So an avatar, again, for those of you who are newer, is someone who's completely free, gone through all the likes and dislikes and disappointments and sorrows and pain on every level. Has gone through all that and realized that none of it really has anything to do with our consciousness and who we are, because we have to get beyond it. It's not like we have to get beyond feeling pain, but we have to understand where it's coming from. And I've told you before, I think, but I'm going to repeat this because to me, it was one of the best things Swami Kriyananda ever told me. When I was having a really difficult time, really difficult, and I called him on the phone. This is some years ago, 20, 30 years ago. And, unloaded my heart and told him all these things that were happening. And he just said, Durga, the tests never end until you are free. And what that means is, as you get stronger, a stronger test will come. You overcome that, a stronger test will come. It sounds horrible. It sounds like, oh my God, why am I on this path? But we're on this path because we want to find freedom. And the way to find freedom is to get rid of all those things that attach themselves to our hearts and keep us bound. So the avatar who's come through it all, not only is he free and become what they call a param guru, but he has chosen to come back again, even though he's free. Who would ever choose to come back and go through all these things we go through? Because of his incredible love for us. That is the only reason he's back. His love for us, if he's in the body, or if we can relate to him when he was in the body, even though we didn't know him then, but his teachings are alive, then he's coming to help us, because all he cares about, if you read what's the poem, Supriya, God's Boatman. If you read that poem, the last line is, I will come again and again with bleeding feet. I will come if one strayed brother is left behind, and to take him. Now that, just that one line, just feeling what that would be like, it's like for us going into maybe the worst thing we can imagine, a dungeon or jail or something, and choosing to do that because there's somebody there that needs our love. There's somebody there that can be helped by our presence. And so he comes back completely free, but to help us also to become free. That's his mission. So the avatar is, I should say, the new dispensation, talking about this special dispensation. Master said, Yogananda said, this is a special dispensation. I'm coming for a reason, and that's to help you all to become free. So he spent his whole adult life, 99% of his adult life in America. That was his mission, to come and teach us Sanatana Dharma, the true religion, which is the religion of freedom, honoring all religion, honoring all people that are of that ilk. So what is our path? Service and meditation. So the reading this morning and the affirmation, what is it? Sharing. And that's part definitely integral to our life, to share, because you can keep all this inside you. I was reading, in fact, we were part of that conversation of Swamiji saying, when he was writing, he was saying he would observe people that were deep meditators, but they didn't really know how to share. They didn't know how to give. They didn't know how to expand their love for God to other people. But they were really good meditators, which is very important. But then he observed other people that couldn't meditate very well, but knew how to love others, that knew how to share what they were feeling in themselves, in their heart. And he said what was, I wouldn't say astonishing, but was interesting to him is that those were the people that were growing. Those were the people that had more light in their eyes. Those were the people that wanted to be around because you could feel that inner joy, and that's what you wanted to be around. So it can go either way. We have really deep meditators here that are also very joyful. We have people that are struggling to meditate that are also joyful. What is your path? What has God given you to do? What are the strengths that he's given you to expand upon? Okay, so then you want to say anything?
I could say something in a minute.
That's sort of what happens. Okay, why don't you talk?
Well, I was thinking of some examples of the how the avatars roll in our life, and I have been a bike rider for not too long, maybe about 10 years. I was a runner most of my life and had to give that up with some issues I had health-wise, and got into riding bikes. One of my first bike riding experience I remember I had was with Maitri, actually. You remember that Maitri? We made that ride up towards Downeyville. I mean, probably 20 years ago.
Longer than that.
I didn't want to. Okay, so I was riding an analog bike then. And then years after that, really was just sort of the initial foray into bike riding. But several years later, after I got my health back, I got a analog bike. And so I was riding this. An analog bike is when you just pedal yourself. And we live in the hills out here. So I was having a lot of fun at first riding my bike through the hills with Panduranga and others of the bike riding community here at Ananda Village. But it would become exceedingly more difficult for me as I got close to my 80th birthday. And I was not going out. It was too difficult. So it was too difficult for me on my own to pump that analog bike up and down these hills that we live in out here. So finally, due to Bob Stoltzman, he suggested that we all try out e-bikes. So I bought this very high-end giant e-road bike and began to ride it. And I was thinking yesterday, we went on a beautiful ride yesterday of 30 miles with 4 or 5 of us. I was thinking on this ride yesterday, in fact, here we are riding on these bikes. And when the road is fairly level, we don't need to use any what they call boost. A bike like mine has 5 different, it has a lithium-ion battery and 5 different levels of boost. What boost is, each notch up in boost gives you more assistance to your pedaling stroke and makes it easier. So I was sort of comparing that when we are having a very difficult time with the slope that we're on, we add some boost to our pedaling stroke. And that is a analogy for what's happening when we're having difficulty on the spiritual path. What's the answer to that? The answer to that is to call on the guru for support, call on him for his boost to the efforts that we're putting out. We still need to put out our maximum effort, but if we call on him, he can give us a boost that will help us put us over the top and give us much more chance of being successful and achieving the goals that we're trying to achieve. So somehow I managed to weave into the bicycling into this topic today, which I'm very proud of myself for. So when you're having difficulty in your meditations or in your life, think about this idea of adding the boost of the guru's grace and blessings onto the efforts that you are making. You still need to make the effort, but if you're putting out that effort, it's going to be more likely that he will be able to give you some boost, and the boost that he's able to give you will take you much farther than you could possibly go on your own. And that's what this spiritual path is about. And that's why these great avatars came down to earth, to give us the boost and support we need to be successful in our spiritual efforts. Om Swaha.
Okay.
That's enough of bike riding.
Okay, I just wanted to say a few more things because this topic brings us to what are we doing with our daily life? And so I sort of wanted to end that. I wanted to sort of have everybody, you can close your eyes or not, but just think about your life in general, what you're doing, how you're doing? Are you calling on the guru for help? Are you calling on him for that boost? Or are you just sort of living your life day by day, take whatever comes? Because I want us to think what our life would look like if in every moment we would remember him. If every moment, every time we get down, we would remember, oh, I have a huge plus here. I have a guru that can help me get over the bumps. Am I working on that? Am I calling on him? And just imagine what your life would be like if you did that. Imagine what your life would be like if every moment, especially the ones that are hard, but also in every moment, when you're eating, when you're running, when you're helping someone, are you thinking of him? Because there's so much power that comes through an avatar. We are given not one, but 5 avatars in our line that all have reached the goal, that are all coming down to help us. And it's so amazing when we can tune into them and imagine what our lives would be like if we lived that way. And I just want to end this part of it with just this story of Vairagi, not the new Vairagi, but the old Vairagi who's not with us anymore. But she had serious cancer and she was very ill. And then she got this idea, probably from the guru, to go over to India to see Swami Kriyananda, her teacher. And no one could figure out how she was going to get there. And then there was a wonderful man in the community who said, I will take her. I will take her. I will be with her, get her on the plane. So she went over to India, met with Swamiji 3 or 4 times. And the one thing he said to her is, be grateful for every moment. And at the beginning, sure, as our minds do, are you kidding me? How am I going to do that? This is so hard. But when she got back she lived in a group house. And so I heard this from other people, that she would constantly thank Divine Mother, no matter what was happening. And what has struck me so much all these years later is her crawling to the bathroom because she couldn't walk. And the whole time there, thank you, Divine Mother, thank you, Divine Mother, thank you, Divine Mother. They said it was just amazing to watch her and the faith that she had and what she drew and pulled on the guru. And he was there for her till the very end, very, very powerfully. And so we are all going to go like Anandi. And another very good friend of ours passed away on Saturday. Very few of you know her, but Mark and Maitri know Mary and Tom Osterly, and Mary passed away on Saturday. We had Seva a couple of months ago, and we're all, of course, in the village talking about, oh, this is really going to happen. This isn't something that just happens to somebody else. We're watching our friends, we're watching our loved ones, we're watching like
Durga Vidura, excuse me, we see your frozen picture, but your audio has gone out. So let's see if you can come back in.
Yeah, they're there.
Try unmute yourself now and try again.
okay.
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 Yes.
So this is from a lady who lived here many, many years ago. Beautiful young lady. Well, I call her young. She's younger than me. But dear Anandi, I am so grateful and honored that our paths crossed in this lifetime. You often spoke the words of a teacher to me, guiding me on this path, bringing me closer to Yogananda. Remember when I came to you all confused about whether I should follow Jesus or Ananda? You almost laughed and said, Julie, it's not either or. Yogananda is giving you the tools to get closer to both of them. It was just like that you unlocked something in my mind to be open and calm. Another time I came to you frustrated that I didn't get the peaceful feeling in meditation, defending myself that I was focusing on the technique and doing it right, but nothing was happening. You smiled at me again and said, Julie, what about your heart? Are you meditating from your heart? Sorry, I've got a lot of smoke going around and I'm coughing on that. To this day, do I hear your voice saying this to me when my meditations become stale? You are the reason I took discipleship. Without Yogananda's presence in my life, I don't know how I would have managed some of life's challenges and hurdles. She goes on, but thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your inspiration, not just in your talks, but the way you lived your life. Your shining eyes told me that you were a deep meditator, dedicated disciple, and she says a liver of Yogananda's teachings. You have been and continue to be an inspiration to me. So that just came a couple days ago. And Karuna, who's the head of Care and Aging at Ananda, is collecting stories. In the beginning, it was to read to Anandi, but now I think it would be wonderful if people have stories to send them to Bharat. I'm sure he'll make a little booklet out of it and let people read it. And then I just wanted to end with this because I thought this was so inspiring. So there's a lady in the community named Giovanni. Some of you may know her because she worked at the Expanding Light for many years. But as I said, we have this little meditation area set up for Anandi for the last couple of weeks. And so she said, I thought I'd share an interesting interaction with Anandi this morning. So this is all in her mind. Anandi's in her room and Giovanni's outside. I believe her message is for all of us. This morning, I went to meditate in front of her house on one of the benches at her shrine. The Gayatri mantra started up in my head on my walk over, and I continued it after I sat down. After about 30 minutes, I felt very inward and still. Suddenly, in my mind's eye, I saw Anandi standing in front of me with her big, vibrant smile, and she said, hello, just like she always does. She was in her Nayaswami robes. I greeted her back and she sat next to me. It all seemed very natural and very real. We were quiet for a bit. Then I asked her, what's it like dying? She said, it's like letting your battery run out. I like to come out here and sit with everyone. It's very sweet. I'm very touched by everyone's love. There was a pause. You know, I'll always be around like the others, helping everyone. Then she turned to me and said, you will be helping everyone here too. Then we sat for a while more as the sun rose, and I felt my soul expand with her enormous loving presence to the gates of the astral realm. There were tears of joy and tears of gratitude. All sadness of her leaving evaporated. I could feel the curtain between the two worlds very thin. There is going to be a big celebration when she gets there. They are gathering in joy. Blessing, Giovanni. So.
It's really sweet.
So does anyone have anything they'd like to ask or talk about, or if you had experiences with Anandi, you might want to share them? I'll wait and see if anyone wants to say anything. And
Well, I just remember that.
are you all muted or what's going on?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Guess I can't.
She's frozen again.
Uh-oh.
I can barely hear you.
Ah, okay. Well, I was just going to say that one of the it's just a little story, but just the very first time I came to Ananda, which was at Christmas in the late 80s, like 87, I think it was. Anyway, Nandi was at the Expanding Light, of course. And she was the person who was taking us various places, and she took us over to the Crystal Hermitage, and it was in the evening, and it was at Christmas, and we went into the St. Francis Chapel, and there was a small choir as well. And I just remember feeling between her talk, which, was just beautiful because she was always so inspiring, and the choir, the little choir, that's when I knew that I was home. That,
Nice.
that Ananda was my path, and it was just deeply touching. So 6 months later, I moved to the village and have been on the path and been sharing and receiving, and just
When did you find Mark?
when way
Yeah,
down
you.
the path.
And I'm an old thing she picked up in Dallas.
Yeah, we got married in 2000.
So anybody, 2000?
Yeah,
Wow. 22 years. 22 years. That's a long time.
yeah. That's
Um, anyone else? Yes, thank you, Maitri. This is a very bad connection. I'm only hearing half of what you're saying.
oh.
So I'm sorry about that.
Well,
I'll share a little. I'll share a little bit. This is
Hi,
Ian.
Garth, go ahead.
Hey there. Hi. So good to see you guys.
Thank you.
I just want to share that Anandi was responsible, as the editor. I don't know if very many people know this, is the compiler and editor of that series, the How to Live series of the collected sayings of Yogananda, all those various ones on happiness and vibrant health and healing and so on, and relationships. And every time one would come out, not every time, but occasionally I would see her, because I'm not up at the village all that much, but I would see her and I'd say, "Oh, Anandi, that is so wonderful. That's just a tremendous book." And she would look at me as if she didn't know what I was talking about. She was so incredibly humble that she didn't take any credit whatsoever. She barely smiled. She just sort of nodded. And it was a real lesson for me. I was a bit taken aback, actually, a couple of times, because you'd think, "Oh, I'm so glad you like it. That's just wonderful. We worked really hard on it. I hope it does a lot of good." There was just like no personal identification with it at all. It was so beautiful. It was pure service.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. She was a great teacher and friend. Everybody that I talked to would have a story or a real connection with her. No matter how long they knew her, there was always a connection. Everyone felt that she was their friend.
Yeah.
She was completely serviceable. And then her husband, Bharat, was sick for 11 years. She took care of him while she was doing everything else. And he's doing very well, by the way.
Is he doing better?
He's doing much better. He went to a clinic in Mexico that really turned him around. So
wonderful. So glad.
And Anandi's been sick for 2 months, and he's been taking care of her the whole time. Which was amazing. It was exactly the timing perfect, where she stopped taking care of him and he was able to take care of her. So
wow, wonderful.
I'll just briefly say this, that I have two wonderful memories, and I did write this to Karuna. First, with Bharat, I had the pleasure one time of doing a sharing nature workshop with him at Ananda Village. And I had no idea really what we were going to do. I had read a little bit of his book, but at the same time, there I show up and we're hugging trees, and that was fun. And he talked us through it and guided us through it. But after that, in the same workshop, we're going to do somehow animate the trees making food with
Right.
sound, with sounds. I know I had no idea what to expect, but it was so wonderful that he built the tree with human bodies. Some people with the core, then you had the rings in
Yeah.
the tree, and then you had the bark on the tree, and I was still waiting over here. It's like, what am I going to be? And then all of a sudden, they were making the food and drawing up the food, the water from through the roots. We had roots, people were roots. And then it's like, I'm still not being picked. It's like not being picked for the basketball team or something in school. You're the last one being picked. And all of a sudden he says, Sue, get over here, and a few others. And now you're the boll weevils. So those were the insects. And we had to have our hands up here, and we had to keep running around the tree and kind of going up to the bark. And I was a boll weevil. So I don't know. It was just so, and we're all making sounds, right? So that was my fun experience with Bharat. And then with the Nandi, there were many, many, but the one most recent, I guess, was one time I was living for 2 months in Chandi House, which is a house for the newer people at Ananda. They have a house, mom and dad, and they meditate together every day, and they have meals together. And I was living there for 2 months, and they have programs for these newer people. And since I was part of the house, got to do everything. And Anandi was coming over one evening, and I just remember thinking, oh, I love Anandi, and I haven't had a whole lot of interaction other than being in a few classes with her. But I knew she was coming, so I put on the floor a pillow real close to where I knew she was going to sit. I wanted to be close to her. I just felt I wanted that. And I just sat there the whole time with her sharing and talking, feeling the light coming from that beautiful soul, and her smile and the light that was coming into the room as she was speaking to all of us. And I almost couldn't move, just sitting there with my eyes closed, and I hope I wasn't draining her. I don't think I was, but I felt like I was drawing on her light, her sweetness. And I left that satsang thinking, I want to be like her. I just remember that. So
Thank you. Mark, do you have the slideshow?
I sure do. You ready to do that?
Do you want me to talk or not talk?
Well, I've got it set to music, and maybe you can say a few words afterwards.
Oh, so you can't tell us, like, if we see all the nuns 30 years
This is that. Whatever you need to do.
Okay. I'm gonna let you
I
guys.
kinda-
I
did
don't
it as
see
a-
anything.
It's coming.
Oh, okay. Is anyone else getting the pictures? Are you guys seeing the pictures? Because we see nothing.
Yes, we are.
Okay, must be over.
So sorry about that. I know, Durga, that you were not seeing the video. Was anybody else not
That's
seeing?
okay. I've seen it.
No,
It was
everybody else, I think,
absolutely, it
we
was
can see it.
absolutely spectacular video.
Yeah,
Oh.
beautiful, very beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm
If
so
you-
glad. And
We could try. We could try. Just I'll bring the video up without doing it in
No.
video mode and
no,
just
no,
go
no. We've seen it.
picture by
We've seen
picture.
it many times. It
Okay.
was mostly it's for you, so I'm really
Okay.
glad
we'll
that
send
everyone
you.
got to see it.
We can send it to you if you're interested, because it's he did a really nice job on it.
No, no. Oh, okay. You can send it to me then. I'd love to see it. So, I think we should do. We should just do a closing prayer because we're only getting a little bit of you guys, and it's just doubt that well. But I'm so glad to see you all, and we just love being connected with you. If you do a prayer, it's that smoke.
I don't know if can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't tell, but I'll do the prayer. Okay. So let's take a moment, go within. Let's call on our great gurus, Heavenly Father, Divine Mother,
My mother,
and beloved God,
grandmother,
Jesus Christ, Balaji Krishna,
They're repeating.
Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, our beloved Master, Paramahansa Yogananda, our friend and guide, Swami Kriyananda, Divine Mother, all saints and sages, we ask for your blessings on us this day. Please be with us. Be with our sister Nandi as she transitions into the light. Be with all of us in Ananda, all true seekers everywhere. Surround us, surround the world with your light and your blessings. Om Shanti Shanti. Amen.
Thank you, guys. You
Thank
have a
you.
wonderful day. And I know there's really, really good football games on today, but the Cowboys aren't in it. Sorry
No,
about
they're
that.
not.
But yeah, so I wish you a really wonderful day and come see us whenever you can. Whenever this silly COVID's over, just come and we'll take care of you.
Thank
Okay.
you so much for going above and beyond and getting doing what had to be done to
Crazy.
So thank you so much.
God bless you. Love you guys. Bye
And
bye.